this computer. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our second rendition, our second week of what we're calling Chelsea Community Cafe, taking place on Zoom here at the lunch hour midweek, an opportunity for the members of our community, normally such a great, connected, in touch community, to sort of regain a sense of that connection and an awareness of what's going on in our community during a pretty chaotic and uncertain time. My name is Eric Strickland. I am the pastor at St. Paul United Church of Christ here in Chelsea. And I've been here for about 10 months now, going on 11 months. Although time has sort of lost meaning in these last couple of months. It's hard to know what day it is. But one of the reasons that I sort of pitched doing this in our community is because in that short time of living here, one of the things that's become evident is that Chelsea's great strengths, among many, but a couple of Chelsea's great strengths would be the way that it's connected, and then the way that the members of this community care about their neighbors, and are curious about what everyone is up to and what this community has to offer. And so one of the organizations since moving to Chelsea, since moving to this area, that has been most impressive to me, and whose work has become really important to me, is the Five Healthy Towns organization. I've joked a couple of times that other than my own church, if there was one sort of organization or business that I could wave a magic wand and have open tomorrow, other than my own church, it would probably be the Chelsea Wellness Center.
Yay, me too.
Yeah. It's a daily fixture for me. I miss being there. And obviously we know that Five Healthy Towns Foundation is up to way more than just the wellness centers. You all do really, really important work. And so I am delighted that our second guest in the second week of Chelsea Community Cafes is Amy Heydlauff, who is make sure that I get your job title right, the Chief Executive Officer
Yes.
for the Five Healthy Towns Foundation. And so I would like to introduce Amy and then offer Amy the opportunity to sort of tell us about Five Healthy Towns, what you do, what you're up to, sort of like I said in my email to you yesterday, sort of your elevator speech, but it can be a long elevator ride if you want.
I hope not. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And that's a really fun thing that you told me, that if you could pick another place to open up, it would be the Chelsea Wellness Center. We're sort of focused on that, and maybe I'll tell you a little bit about that later. But the foundation was founded when St. Joe's took over Chelsea Community Hospital. And so they started a foundation focused on health and wellness. And our first board decided that they wanted to be focused on prevention. And so right from the very get-go, we decided that there was plenty of diagnosis and treatment in our community, in our service area, which is Chelsea, Dexter, Grass Lake, Stockbridge, and Manchester. What we really needed was prevention. And so we started focusing on that. And part of the deal was the Chelsea Wellness Center. And we recognized that a lot of people were using the Chelsea Wellness Center. Every time somebody came in there, it was impacting their health. So that's how we happened to expand our strategy to include the Dexter Wellness Center. Manchester and Stockbridge have small wellness centers. So we have three strategies. The first one is the wellness centers. The second one is our coalitions, and we give each one of those coalitions, and their coalitions are made up of just whoever in the community that wants to be part of it. And we give those people money every year to apply to whatever programming the community, this coalition, decides is important to their community. So we tell them what the budget is, and basically they say, we want to spend the money in this way. And they have to demonstrate to us there's a need for whatever the service is. And they have to demonstrate that they can oversee the way the money is being used properly. And beyond that, we really are not too hard on them. They pretty much, I can only think of, in the couple hundred different projects that we funded, I can only think of one or maybe two that we've said, no, that isn't right. As long as it fits into our mission, we fund it. We think that people in the community should be the ones to decide. And then we have a third strategy that just started, and it's called One Big Thing. And it's we're working with a national organization called Rethink Health. And we're working on mental health, and we're doing that with St. Joe's Chelsea, Washtenaw County Community Mental Health, our coalition representatives from our coalitions, and University of Michigan Family Medicine. So those are our 3 strategies.
Awesome. It's good stuff. I feel like this could be a much longer conversation if we ever wanted it to be, because you guys are up to a lot of different things that have me pretty excited. But I'll stick to the script. So what are some of the things that sort of during our current crisis, during our uncertain, weird circumstances, what work of 5 Healthy Towns have continued, have kind of stayed the same? And then the follow-up, basically, what have you guys been up to? And then the follow-up question is, what's changed? What are you all doing that's different right now? How have you adapted how you're working? But also, what things have you done sort of in direct response to the circumstances we find ourselves in? So how has your work continued? How has it changed? And how is it a response?
So I'm going to start at the end.
Yeah.
Cool. And tell you that we have always felt like we were connectors in the community, that we were working with lots of organizations in our community. We have a pretty solid grassroots presence, and that gives us access to a lot of information about what's happening on the ground level in most of our communities. So we consider ourselves to be connectors, and we've really stepped that up. Specifically, we are sharing a lot, doing a lot of communicating, particularly around resources that are available in the community. And so Matt, who I see here, is with us here right now. Matt does a lot of our social media, and he's pushing a lot of information out there. And then Lori Kintz, who works with us, she's been doing a lot of writing and pushing some things out. For instance, to the faith community. I know that, Eric, you've seen some of the stuff she sent out that lists resources. Yep. We particularly have been sharing a lot of resources from our One Big Thing partners, so the hospital, Washtenaw County Community Mental Health, so we want to make sure that people know that there are resources out there if they really just are about done coping for whatever reason, loss of work, financial, emotional, kids with substance abuse issues, whatever all those things are. So we've really stepped up our communication. That has been, it's not that it's a change in what we do, it's just a scaling up of what we do. But at the same time, we've been still focused on some of our other things. So unless you've been under a rock, you would know that we have been doing a survey of all of our communities, all 5 of our communities. I hope that you guys have all done the survey. And we had actually over 2,300 respondents to the survey. So that's a great response rate. And we had 600 in Chelsea, over 600 in Chelsea. So, that's another thing that our Chelsea people can be really proud of. So we've been working on a survey. Matt and Ashley and Lori, who all work for the foundation, are about to kick off a health champion project where we're going to ask the communities to nominate some health champions, and we're going to feature them in our magazine in the fall. And Matt is working on the Sport Port project. Do you guys know about the Sport Port? Like, nod your head yes or no if you know about Sport Port.
I think so. Say more, because I think that I do, and I think I may just not have known the name, but I think this might be one of the things I'm really excited about.
So Matt, jump in if I miss anything really critical here, but the Ralph Wilson Foundation spends a lot of money in Southeast Michigan and also in Pennsylvania around Buffalo. Buffalo? That's not right.
Ralph Wilson, that'd be the Buffalo Bills. So
yeah. Anyway, they started a program called Sport Port, and one of their things is that kids engage in free play. They want more kids to engage in free play, and they want them to do like sport sampling and try things that they haven't done before. And so they've developed this Sport Port program. So we were actually approved as a Sport Port recipient. So Matt has spent the winter buying about every sporting thing you can think of. And families will be able to check those things out from their local libraries in Manchester and Chelsea.
Yep.
And also from the foundation at the Chelsea Wellness Center. We're actually going to have bikes at the Chelsea Wellness Center, which is great for kids who live outside of town because they don't have bikes. So they're in town with their friends and their friends have bikes and they don't have bikes. So we're going to have that option for them. I mean, like, I don't know, lacrosse, tennis rackets, snowshoes for winter. We got the cutest little baby snowshoes ever at the Wellness Center. So that's the Sport Port project. It was supposed to launch in May, but it can't launch now. So hopefully we'll be able to launch in June. How did I do, Matt?
You're pretty good.
Okay, good.
And so yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was. And I think it's a sports library. That's like the
right.
It's like the coolest thing ever. That would have been a dream come true when I was a kid. I'd have checked hockey sticks and footballs and that's really, really awesome.
Yeah, Matt bought mitts and baseballs and basketballs and needles so that we can blow up the basketballs.
So, the only trick is that there's no instruction, right? It's all meant to be for kids who want to try something new without the pressure of organized sports.
Yeah.
Organized sports.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. What an opportunity for families to try a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of fun. That's cool stuff. We'll talk that up a lot. I like that.
Okay. Oh, good. Yeah.
For sure. People who know me know that I will talk up a sports library, a sports. That's
good. We love that.
I'm wired that way. And that actually leads into my next series of questions, and I'll ask them in reverse. Last week we asked Faith in Action how people, if they need help from the organization, could get it. And I'll frame the question just a little bit differently for your organization, which is how can people benefit right now in our present circumstances from the work that Five Healthy Towns is doing, and then beyond the crisis too, how different ways that people can take advantage of what Five Healthy Towns offers directly.
Yeah, so our 4 vision elements are eat better, move more, avoid unhealthy substances, and connect with others in healthy ways. So the connecting piece, things like this, which you said that you were going to push it out to afterwards, this is a great idea. Radioactive Chelsea, those kinds of things. Finding ways to connect is awesome. We actually, our wellness centers have free fitness programs available. So you can go to our website or go to the wellness center websites and click on, Matt, what's the name of it? I always want to say it's like less miles, but
it's under group exercise classes, and we have 2 different versions of it.
So you can actually take advantage of group exercise classes that are happening through our websites. Our farmers markets are opening in most of our communities. In Chelsea, it's going to look different. They're actually going to have pickup. You're going to be able to order ahead and pick up at Chelsea for the Chelsea farmers market. So that's still a possibility. Again, all the communication, the resources that we're pushing out there for people, whatever. And then the other thing I want to say is it's really easy to reach us. Our phone number, 433-4599, actually is ringing through to my phone. So normally we only pick up during business hours. Now, either I pick up or I call back right away. And then also info@fivehealthytowns.org. And we oftentimes, when we push information out, we oftentimes will say, call us. There are lots of things we can't help you with, but we're likely to know who can help you. So call us, email us, text us, whatever works out for you. Click on the link on our website that takes you to info@fivehealthytowns.org. And if we can't help directly, we will get you to someone who can.
Awesome. And then my last organizational question before Q&A anyways, is how can people help Five Healthy Towns? What can people do to benefit your work?
Yeah, the main thing I think we, as you said at the beginning, we're really resource-rich communities. We are.
Yep.
There are communities that would just love to have half of what we have going on in our communities, but nobody can. Most of the time you say to yourself, I wish we had such and such in our community. We probably already have it, but you have no idea how to find it, who to talk to, where to go. So I think for me, the issue is the information that we share. If you can just push it out there, because you may not need it,
Yeah.
and you may not be able to envision who else might need it. But if you push it out there, there's likely going to be somebody, an end user, who could need it, whatever it is. I don't care whether it's food help, just like you talked about Faith in Action. You know, we would push out Faith in Action's programs, but if they happen to land in the inboxes or the Facebook pages of people who don't need it and it just sits there, then the next level of people who don't see that information aren't going to benefit. So I'm particularly thinking of the Washtenaw County Community Mental Health Programming. They have this great CARES program. They've embedded caseworkers in all of our communities, but those people are gone now because we can't have live people in our wellness centers or in our school districts or whatever. So those people are gone now, but they still do their work. So someone might not know how to get to those CARES people, but if we all just keep pushing that out, it might hit the user who really needs it. So I think that's probably the best way people can help, not just the foundation, but more importantly, the community.
Yeah. I mean, I think most people right now are probably spending a little bit more time in their online social networking spaces than normal. And so, you know, why not use that to share some really good, helpful information with people?
Yeah.
I agree. I like it. All right. The last curveball question that I warned you that I would ask, that I'm going to ask all of my guests every week, is what is something that during this social distancing period you have read or watched or listened to that's inspired you or that you'd recommend? Read, watched, or listened to? And you can name the category.
Yeah. Eric and I had a chance to touch base about it at the beginning, so he knows that I really, you know, like I like to read, I like to watch, I like to listen. So I'm going to start with reading, and I'm going to tell you that I'm about to read some. So wait, I probably shouldn't tell it that way. Let me start with the fact that I just cracked the spine on a C.S. Lewis book called Mere Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
And I've tried for years to read C.S. Lewis, and it's dense, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least it's dense for me.
Yeah.
Maybe the rest of the world thinks that it's a piece of cake, but he's dense for me.
Yeah.
And usually I get 20 or 30 pages in, and I think I don't have time.
That's fair.
So this time when I started Mere Christianity, I started it because I heard or read something that came out of Mere Christianity that made me think, I probably should revisit that. And I'm actually finding some themes in there that are more meaningful to me this time. So it's still a slow go for me. But then I'm going to tell you kind of a funny thing about C.S. Lewis, and that is, maybe this is true for everybody in the world, but in our family, it's almost gotten to be a joke how many of us think that C.S. Lewis wrote Alice in Wonderland, because we get him confused with Lewis Carroll. So anyway, I'm giving that a shot. I listened to some podcasts, and one of them is something called Intelligence Squared, where they take some issue and they have 4 experts, 2 on either side, and they debate the issue, and then they have the audience vote on who won the day.
Oh, that's fun.
And so it's called Intelligence Squared, and you can pick the issues you want to listen to. You don't have to listen to all of them, and that's what I do. And then Perino and Steyerwalt, which is, I actually like to listen to that podcast because the guy Steyerwalt who does it is one of the important parts of his work is polling, and I've learned a ton about polling as well as some other things. That's really a pretty lightweight one.
Yeah.
And then I was in my car for a while recently, so I decided I wanted to listen to a book club podcast. So I just typed in book club in my search, and it brought up a whole bunch of them. And one of them said the Redhead Book Club. So my daughter-in-law has gorgeous curly red hair, and I always wished I had red hair. So I clicked on that one, and I'll tell you that if you are prudish in any way, don't listen to it, because they're, a little bit of potty mouths. There's 4 women.
Good.
And the books are books I may not select, left to my own devices.
Nice.
But I don't know, they made me laugh out loud. The first one I listened to, it's a new podcast, just started this year. The first one I listened to made me laugh out loud 4 times. So I decided that was probably good.
I like it.
So I haven't read the books yet. So I'm about to do the first book that I've listened to their podcast, but not read the book. So this time I'm going to read Nothing to See Here by somebody named Kevin Wilson. So I am going to read the book this time, so that when I listen to the podcast, I can, when I'm laughing, I'm actually laughing with them about whatever it is they're saying. So anyway, if you feel like you're going to be, put off by some bad language, I would not recommend the Redheads Book Club. But if that doesn't bother you too much, and you like to change it up once in a while, they were pretty hilarious. It's a totally different generation.
Yeah.
They're 4 young women.
Yeah.
And so the things they talk about and the way they talk is very different than, like a book club of people of my age. And I don't know, I just thought it was refreshing, even if sometimes I was like, in 15 years, you're going to look at that different, women. but it was pretty entertaining.
If I had $1 for every time my dad has said that to me, I'd make a donation to 5 Healthy Town.
Then I have a book that I recommend all the time whenever anybody asks me, and it's a book called Imperium, and it's written by Robert Harris, and it's about Cicero and the politics of the day.
Oh, wow.
And especially now for anyone who, like me, gets so discouraged by the political landscape, regardless of where you are on that landscape.
Yep.
I think it's really healthy to read, basically there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you. So normally this would be a time when I would open it up for Q&A. So if any of the couple of people who are with us now, I think a lot more people will probably access this on YouTube later, which is cool. But just if you've got a question, and if we have trouble with your mic, I've got the chat section open too, so you can feel free to type your question. So I don't know if either of the folks who are with us have any questions for Amy. I know I've got one.
Okay, and then I'm going to throw out there that if anybody has anything for Matt as well, he knows a lot about what's going on at the foundation.
Cool. Well, so the question that I have is, when executive orders start to get lifted, what is the plan? What plans are being worked out behind the scenes for reopening my gym?
So I don't know if you guys know, I don't know if the world understands that we're actually considered a medically integrated facility.
Yeah.
And that means that we actually are overseen by a healthcare advisory committee. And we have a lot of programming for people, mental health, like programming that people get referred to by physicians for mental health or weight loss or diabetes or cardiovascular, oncology. We actually have 10 of those programs. So we've been working with our healthcare advisory committee on putting in place recommendations for opening. And because our 2 main facilities are so large, we actually can accommodate 200 people at a time in Chelsea and 185 at a time in Dexter with social distancing. So we can close off certain pieces of equipment and certain sections of the fitness floor, and we can accommodate quite a few people at a time. So we feel like the social distancing piece is not going to be difficult for us to manage. Depending on when we're allowed to open, our staff will have masks. We'll ask our visitors and members to wear masks as much as they can tolerate it. It's really hard to do a hard workout and wear a mask. So, but there are parts of the facility where you would want to wear a mask, right? So if you're in the locker room, which by the way, we would limit the number of people in the locker rooms. We already, even before COVID came along, the stuff that we use to clean our equipment met standards to kill COVID, but we actually intend to rotate closing of certain sections of the facility every day during the day. So let's say from 1 to 2, you won't be able to use free weights because they've all been sanitized, and we need to let them, need to let the cleaning solutions do their work. So that section will be closed off, or regularly scheduled, so people would know if you want to use free weights, you don't come between 1 and 2. So we're putting some of that sort of thing in place. And then we actually are talking to the governor's office. We have some people who are working with us, who are working with the governor's office to help them understand that some of our members really, it's a crisis for them not to be able to come every day to our wellness center. So I'm not talking about you, Eric, or me, because we feel fine and we just want to go and do our routine. But we actually have some people who are losing function and may not even be able to recover it.
Yeah.
And so we need to get those people back in the facilities. Yep. And so we're working with the governor's office in hopes that they'll understand the value, first of all, the value of belonging, but secondly, the immune system impact and the general health and wellness impact that our facility has for some people. I don't know, do you come at 5 in the morning?
Usually, yeah. Really early.
So there's a woman that comes to Chelsea at 5 o'clock every morning when we open, and on the weekends at 7. She comes 7 days a week. She spends 90 minutes in the therapy pool. It keeps her in the game. She has contractures on the left side of her body. Yeah. She has a terrible gait. And I'm like worried about people like her. I'm worried about their welfare. So hopefully we'll be able to get the gyms open before the end of the month. I don't know if we're going to be able to make the case, but we're trying to make that case.
Awesome. It's a good answer for sure. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Thanks.
Well, Amy, awesome. Really, really thank you for your time. Appreciate the work that you're doing so much and what the work means to our 5 healthy towns and to our community. So I am going to post the YouTube link to this a little bit later on our page at St. Paul Chelsea. I assume you guys will share it on the 5 Healthy Towns Facebook page, and we'll try to spread it around and remind people that it's there.
And Eric, I want you to hang in there and keep this going, because it takes a while for stuff to catch on, but this could have legs for the long term.
Yeah,
I like the idea, and so good for you. Thanks for taking the initiative.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everybody for taking the time. Like I said, spread the word, and we'll see you later. Everybody have a good Wednesday. Go enjoy the sunshine.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.
We'll see you later.